Double rocket. Giant cancel. Blood Booster.
How in God's name does someone just go that fast? I'm sure that feeling is all too familiar while watching top level speedruns, especially on games that bring as much nostalgia value as Super Mario 63 does. 100%ing the game in less than an hour is a monumental achievement first done by a fairly well-known speedrunner hailing from France, the second one, set on the 30th of August 2018. By the end of this video, if you manage to master most of, if not everything covered, you will be well on your path towards claiming a below 1 hour time of your own. Without further ado, let's get this started. Before we get into the nitty-gritty jank this game has to offer in terms of glitches and strategies in the courses, it really helps to fully understand how the movement in this game works. There are a ton of movement options: jump, double jump, triple jump, spinning, ground pounds, backflips, and dashing. And that's not even factoring in FLUDDs, which provide a lot more control. Doing 3 jumps in a row will make Mario do a triple jump. While this does provide the most height, this also comes with the price of having slightly less control for a brief period of time. What I mean by this is until Mario finishes the triple jump animation, you cannot spin, which is the mechanic that gives you the most control while FLUDDless. Even with FLUDDs, they can be charged, but not in a very useful way until said animation is complete. So, while triple jumps do provide the most height, sometimes it's better to just do a double jump, like this spot in Shifting Sandland. Next up is diving. During any of these jumps, and a few more, you can perform a dive at any point. However, you have even less control than a triple jump until you land. Not only can you not spin during the dive state, but you also cannot easily adjust your velocity. One interesting quirk that is unique to this game is that you can chain dives and build some more speed. I've mentioned how diving and triple jumping temporarily remove the ability to spin. But what even is it? Spinning is yet another form of tech that can be useful for a couple things, but most importantly, stalling out single and double jumps. Regardless of how much downward speed you have, a simple press of the X button will cap your downward speed and even give you an ever so slight upwards boost. It can also be used at the peak of either jump to gain a little bit more height off your jump, like this instance in Tutorial 1 Room 2. It can also be used as a means of creating this dank meme. Like spinning, ground pounding also has a fair share of uses, but instead of capping your speed, it completely removes all of it, then shoots Mario straight down, at which point we can move slightly left or right. Its greatest use of all time is the ability to break boxes from above. Without that, some levels like Cave of Empuzzlement would be literally impossible the way it is. These last two mechanics in stock actually have the least amount of uses in the entire run. Backflipping can be done by ducking, and then pressing up, and whatever direction is the opposite of what you're facing. So, for example, if you're facing left, the inputs are down while grounded, and then up plus right around a half second later. If you're facing right, the inputs are the same, except instead of up plus right, it's up plus left. You'll get the timing in no time with just a bit of practice. This tech isn't all that difficult, and neither is the next, but the glitches, now they will be a little bit more tricky, but fear not. With some more practice, you should be able to nail those too when we get to that. Last but not least, we have dashing. As you'll see later, this mechanic is the core fundamental of a glitch that will not be covered until Chapter 4. Dashing is done by quickly tapping either left or right, releasing, and then holding it again. So the inputs would look like left, then nothing, and then holding left, all within about a half second of each other, which would cause Mario to dash to the left. To dash to the right, those inputs would be right, nothing, and then hold right. Also, before we continue, I just want you to know that if at any point I'm explaining too quickly, or something isn't quite making sense, please don't hesitate to rewind or ask in the comment section below as much as you need to. This guide is made as a means for you to be able to properly learn the route. Taking inspiration from Super Mario Sunshine, this game also has FLUDDs, which can be activated with the spacebar or C. In the very beginning of the game, we are sent to a tutorial level, and 2 rooms later, we are introduced to Hoverflood. As this sign so gracefully says, jump on the box to reveal FLUDD. However, there's one little secret they're hiding from you. Can you spot it? If you said that you seemingly got FLUDD by simply jumping on the box and not grabbing the actual FLUDD nozzle, you're right. In fact, this is the only instance in the run where you ever have to actually grab the FLUDD. Later on down the road, you've probably collected 8 or more shines, and defeated Bowser 1 for the first time. No, we're being taken away from the castle. After defeating Bowser 1, you get sent to another tutorial level, which introduces you to the rocket and turbo nozzle. Much like their Sunshine counterparts, Rocket Nozzle lets you blast off, and Turbo Nozzle gives you the ability to reach speeds otherwise impossible. As much as I would love to say Runo foresaw the entire speedrunning scene of this game by intentionally making the castle shortcuts, there are just way too many glitches in this game that were clearly not intended. These include but are not limited to double rockets, shine cancels, blood preserve, end of star skipping, and more. In this chapter, we will go over every single one that the 100% speedruns currently use. The ones that only have one use will be covered when we get to that point in the route, and the ones with no uses at all will not be covered at all. Since this video has enough information as it is, and adding any more wouldn't be a very good use of your time now, would it? With that being said, let's go over the most important glitches. To perform a double rocket, stand on the ground when you're about to charge the rocket nozzle, and then pause on the first frame you rocket. You can tell if you successfully pulled off the trick if Mario is on the ground, the game is paused, and the rocket is charged all at the same time. If Mario is off the ground or the rocket nozzle is still charging, it can help to pause a few frames earlier than you need to, release the button, hold it again, rinse and repeat until you get the desired scenario. If that is the case, when you unpause, you'll find that you'll have all your FLUDD energy allowing you to rocket again, hence the name Double Rocket. Additionally, you can shift to turbo and use that for some time to also gain incredible horizontal speed. Combine that with the second rocket and just imagine how much distance you can get from that alone. Yeah, rocket and turbo nozzles are incredibly broken in this game, no kidding. End of Star Skip, or EOS for short, is a very simple glitch which only requires you to press pause after collecting a shot at any point before landing, then exiting level. At first glance, it may seem like the shine didn't count, since, well, Just look at the shine counter. It's not when you collect a shine that the game updates the star counter. No, it's after a cutscene similar to Super Mario 64's Star Get cutscene. Once the cutscene finishes playing, Mario will be ejected either outside of the painting of the course you were in, or, in the case of Castle Secret Shines, back into the main hall of Castle Grounds. From there, yet another animation plays which counts your coins, and it's at this point that the shine counter finally updates. That raises the question, if we skip all of that by pausing, won't that prevent the shine counter from updating, thus invalidating any possibility of 100% completion? This would technically be true except for one thing. If you then proceed to quit game at any point, the game kind of autosaves, consequentially suddenly counting every single shine you've collected up until that point. Furthermore, getting the escape shine and watching the end credits also updates your shine counter. Shine cancels can be done by triple jumping into a shine, and then pausing on the first frame you come in contact with it. If you pause too early, which, by the way, is even more recommended here for reasons I'll get to in a bit, at any level, this trick should always be done by pausing too early a few times. The reason for that is that you can't just cycle between holding and releasing the pause button, since Mario will not move during that process. You have to actually time the press correctly. If you time it too late, that's it, you've missed the shine counter. No, seriously, there's nothing you can do at that point except EOS out of the level and then continue the level from there. That's why pausing early is extra important, because even if you time it later than intended, you're more likely to get it in one pause than completely missing it. Fun fact, every single shine sprite in the game except Escape is either collected with an EOS or shine cancel. Air rockets can give you the ability to rocket again after passing through a platform for 3 frames. It does feel somewhat random whether or not it'll work, which would explain why this is probably something you might have done by complete accident while playing casually without even knowing it. Yet top runners still mess up frequently. If you fail the air rockets, just doing the double rockets would be a good backup most of the time, like this bottom tutorial to Room 2. Luckily, there are no places in the run where missing an air rocket is the difference between life and death. FLUDD Preserve is a glitch that can actually be done in 2 different ways, the first of which would be to quit game while you're in a course that has collected floods. Once you select the file and spawn near the pipe, if you press shift, you'll discover you still have those same floods. But how? Aren't you supposed to not have any floods outside of the castle? What is going on? Well, the truth is that if you quit the game while you're currently in a course, for all intended purposes, the game will still think you're in that course. This is why newer players sometimes spawn right before Bowser 3 when exiting level after 80%. They get a run that died somewhere in Bowser 3, space, or escape, reset, delete file, and start a new run, completely oblivious to the fact that the game now thinks you're in Bowser 3, up until the point where you exit level. Using this newfound knowledge, we can actually do one more clever trick in order to start a level with floods, without actually doing anything inside the course. If you quit game immediately when entering a course, then pick up floods in the castle and then exit level, not only will you spawn outside of the painting that corresponds to the level you just entered, but you will also have floods you picked up in the castle in that course. As the display shows, the course you're in isn't necessarily the course the game thinks you're in, and it's this key feature that makes this glitch to be possible. The final glitch I would like to touch upon for now is rocket storage. If you charge up a rocket, then switch floods before it finishes charging, that rocket is stored until you shift back to rocket. It also helps to hold C right before shifting, otherwise it might not work. There's a couple places where this saves time, like both huge rooms in Bowser 3, and this spot in Lethal Lava Land, where you just rocket even after all your fun has been drained away. Rocket and Turbo really are broken in this game now, aren't they? If you played this game casually as a kid, I'm going to bet that you were likely using the 2012 version, especially because of the level designer. Sadly, level designer nor Toad interactions are going to be in the speedrun. Furthermore, 2012 is not the optimal version as we currently know it, and neither is the web version. So that leaves us with only the standalone 2009 version, which is in fact the most optimal version of the game regardless of what category you run. Too many glitches are patched in the 2012 version to the point of it being a joke within the community. You can download the 2009 release using the link on the screen. In addition to the 2009 release, the IGT mod has also recently been an option for a year now. You'll start the timer by clicking start like how timing always started since 2015, but I'll get to that in my next major SM63 project. You can reset the game by pressing comma or whatever button is remapped to as such. Speaking of remapping, Auto Hockey, or HK for short, is a very good software for such remapping. There's an in-depth tutorial in this link on the screen and in the description. But long story short, you download AHK, then you create a notepad file looking like this. Once done, name it scripts.ahk. Now, search for scripts.ahk in the Windows search bar and you should find it. The Suspend Hotkeys option should be the single factor in determining whether or not your remapping will work or not. Side notes, you can technically remap P, semicolon, minus, plus, comma, or whatever button to whatever you please. Just keep in mind that what I've shown is extremely good, so I would not recommend changing that. Especially since what the remap to are as close to ZXC as possible. You cannot talk about practicing the speedrun for this game without mentioning practice hack. It is no exaggeration when I say it is to Mario 63 as Usumuna is to Mario 64. You can practice any level by doing /IL followed by the abbreviation of course 100. You can also set a hotkey to a command by typing /hotkey button command. For example, if I were to be grinding Boost Mansion 100% for sub 420, I would typically go for /hotkey, IL BM100. Since R is remapped to comma, the frame I press R is the moment I spawn right at the Boost Mansion painting, of which that very level is wiped clean and empty. For a more extensive list of commands, check out this link on screen or go into the description if you can't be bothered to type all of that. Alright, now that we've taken care of some much needed context of this game, it's finally time to go over the route. From this point going forward, I'll be going over the entire route piece by piece. The strats mentioned will be fairly basic, as in the ones you could probably nail for the most part with just a bit of practice. While most of these strats will be several seconds behind the world record, it's much more important to be consistent than to go for all the fastest strats, especially in an hour-long category. Right off the bat, we can see File C is the most optimal. This is because we last clicked story before the files, and File C just happens to be in roughly the same spot. So, once we're in Tutorial 1 Room 1, we have to read both signs. The intro cutscene ends with Mario reading the first sign. Technically, we can freely move after the first sign, however, we are faced with an invisible wall blocking any progress until you read the second sign, so we're forced to read that as well. From here, you'll want to set up a jump into a double dive into a triple jump dive. A consistent setup is to hold up and down immediately after the second sign. Once you land and roll out, you'll want to hold right in addition to up and down. After the second dive has been done, it's important to jump as soon as you land 3 times in a row. Diving instantly after the third jump is the last ingredient for the setup. Side note, if you get this bird soft lock, technically you can sleep through this and wake up, but you're much better off resetting the run if this ever happens, especially since it's at the very start of the run. Dive from this rock, then dive and quickly roll out and then ground pound right underneath the bricks. This is done to quickly line you up pretty nicely to ground pound the boxes underneath. Even if you miss, you can just ground pound again, so it's very forgiving. From here, if you hold the semicolon key while underwater, you can swim extremely fast. This is what we use to make it to the top optimally. Given that the key is far away from the rest of the keys, we strongly recommend using some of the level remapping keys, which is perfectly legal for speedruns. If you're using the QWERTY layout, A to minus, S to P, and D to semicolon is in general a really good remapping. From here, it's a good idea to set up a triple jump right after landing. Even if you dive, you will still make it, provided you time it properly. Again, the enemies may get in your way, but spinning should help clear them. Also, a double jump spin works here as well. Here is one of few places where dashing is actually practical. If you dash and initiate a dive rollout right after, you're likely to land on the hover box. This, in fact, is actually enough to collect the hover FLUDD, as the game checks for FLUDD after you land on the box, not when you grab the nozzle. From here, double jump off the rightmost mushroom and then dive chain away. Note that you don't actually want to hover at all, as that might ruin your setup to avoid the water. Even if you land there, hovering back up barely loses any time. From here, a double jump across the moving green platform should be enough to catch the birds in time. You can then double jump on the highest reachable bird and then dive to the pipe. In the case that you missed every bird, fear not, as a precise double jump from the uppermost part of the top green platform cycles can also make it. It's very slow, but at the same time, the chances of not catching any birds are very slim, Therefore, this is a backup you don't need to worry about doing often. That being said, it is generally not a bad idea to practice backups, but they shouldn't take priority over the main strats. However, in this case, Tutorial 1 is a common reset point even at the top level, so resetting after losing several seconds isn't out of the question. Just don't overdo it, because there's always a bunch of time to save elsewhere. That's going to be a common theme throughout this tutorial. This movement is pretty simple. Once you enter the castle, you'll want to enter the right door. At this point, we have yet another instance of the triple jump versus double jump spin strats. With either strat, we can make it up inside the wall. This is a secret passageway in Castle Grounds, and there's many of those. Diving straight right for the rest of the room, and the next leads us to Belgium 1. You want to make it onto the green oscillating platforms as quickly as you can. Once the gray block is just past the middle and moving left, you want to fall on the left side of it. Once it's about to turn and switch directions, that's when you press down and go in sort of an invisible pipe. For this fight, while holding right, you'll want to buffer a spin input and then dive while holding right. Buffering inputs basically means holding them ahead of time, so you make the input on the first frame possible. In this case, we would be holding X in addition to right. This quickly sets Mario up for the first throw. From there, you'll want to dive and do the same for the next two. Then, the key and some mashing later, we reach... There's a blue platform that is unloaded until two switches are hit. You'll want to grab Turbo the same way we did Hover all the way back in Tutorial 1. From there, you'll want to hit the switches and then turbo your way up to the blue platform. Once you get to the top, you'll want to be a little careful to turbo on the clouds without falling off. This is the room I was mostly referring to when talking about air rockets. If those fail by any chance, you can also perform double rockets to make the room even easier. Once you collect the shine, you'll want to pause and quit the game, as exit level is not an option here. This act of pausing and then exiting the area after collecting a shine is known as an end of star skip, or EOS for short. With the exception of the shine you get from finishing escape, every single shine in the other one is either shine cancelled or EOS'd. Despite us having skipped all but one of Eddie's dialogue, the shine is still very much collectible. In fact, the moment you collect a shine, you can enter the pipe right after the castle and dive into the transition on the left. You'll see it hanging right at the end of Tutorial 1 Room 4. Now, when you grab the shine and pause, you can exit level. Since this is the Eddie shine, we can use it to skip almost all of the Eddie dialogue. This next BOB route we're about to cover involves shine cancelling 4 shines in a row. The option to do some but not all of them is reasonable, at least when you're starting out. However, as you get better and better at shine cancelling, it's probably a good idea to start considering adding more of them. Start off by holding right. The moment you land should be the same moment you jump. Dive, and keep diving until 4 of them have been completed, provided no enemies get in the way. If they don't, you can safely spin the bricks with no time loss. If they do bonk or go underneath you, you'll have to improvise a bit. But even if you do bonk, it's not a huge time loss and it's certainly not worth resetting over, even if you have a sub 52 minute run. After that, you'll want to collect the nearby red coin, triple jump to turbo, and go to where the rightmost red coin and hover are in that room. Make sure to go back up and collect the third red coin and go into the cannon. This cannon shot is more or less identical to the route with no shine cancel. Now, get the red coin on the way to rocket and then double rocket to where the wing cabin is. Double rocket again in order to be able to turbo out of it, but make sure you get the star coin before progressing to the island. Once there, ground pound on the island and triple jump shine cancel into backflip. From here, you should be able to turbo all the way to Silver's room, but be careful not to miss red coin 5 along the way. Next, you'll want to double rocket and turbo for a bit before rocketing again to collect the first 3 silvers. You'll fall into the 4th silver, and if done correctly, can just turbo to the 5th with a well-timed spin. The first clip shows what a good BOB silvers would look like, and the second showcases good backups in case you missed the first 2 silvers, which are all easy to miss. From here, it's just a matter of turboing right in a few jumps to enter a BOB secret. Shift to rocket during the cutscene. Make sure you're holding right until after the next rocket jump. You'll want to land underneath the start coin, but missing it is no big deal as you can just rocket back up. From here, do a double jump to gain enough distance to land on the moving yellow blocks. Once you're in the right spots, set up a triple jump to shine cancel the shine, and once successfully completed, do not rocket again, or use any FLUDD for the matter. You'll need to save this for the rocket that comes next. As stated earlier, you'll want to rocket to the star coin and jump to rocket to the platform where the king lies. Missing the star coin is like missing BOB secret star coin. Very small time loss with a similar backup. When the battle starts, the best way to go about this boss is positioning yourself at a distance a bit more than the size of the King Bob-omb himself, waiting for him to throw the bomb, then spinning the bombs onto him. After the defeat of King Bob-omb, we want to make sure we don't miss this particular shine cancel, as that would mean we would have to collect every record all over again. If you get it, awesome. That's the last difficult section of Bob, and after falling down, collecting the circle along the way, the hardest part of the course is all over. Turbo up towards red coin 7, then lose a bit of speed on purpose while shifting to hover in order to make your way towards your last dark coin. From there, you'll want to fall towards your last red coin and go left, towards the shine. However, there's one final trick we can do to save additional time by skipping the cutscene. Normally, you'll have to watch a cutscene for the shine like we did Silver's. The difference is that we can turbo in and out of that transition since we are close enough this time, and completely skip it. Pretty neat. After Bob Reds, it's time to quit game again, but for a different reason. As mentioned earlier, this action does not update what course you're in as far as the game code sees it, unlike exiting level. It is this very fact that allows us to have FLUDDs and castle grounds, and we take advantage of that several times throughout the run. In fact, we do so again with yet another quick game right off the bat. This will be a recurring theme, especially during secrets. However, this time around, we don't yet have FLUDDs. This is where Cave of Empuzzlement, or COE for short, comes into play. Note that even when entering castle secrets such as COE, the course the game thinks you're in is still Rainbow Ride. Conveniently, the FLUDDs we need are right on our way, so this is a very good chance to pair with Rainbow Ride. Normally, you would have to solve a giant puzzle by pressing the correct switches in the correct order. With double rockets, we can just skip all of that, which is a massive time save. After exiting level and re-entering Rainbow Ride, we can perform another double rocket using the FLUDDs we got from COE. First off, we want to go right towards the tricky triangle shine. Yet another huge skip can be done here, and it's even more massive. Like in COE, it's as simple as double rocketing. Now, we want to shine cancel tricky triangles and pair it with the secret shine down below. This up and coming shine is considered by many to be the single hardest shine in the entire run. That being said, let me break down some strats runners use to make the shine less of an issue. For starters, you'll want to enter with the rocket nozzle equipped while holding C and P. Be careful when cycling between releasing and instantly reholding P, so that you can progress frame 1 in the rocket capture. Repeat the pausing cycle until the rocket blasts off, and you should be able to rocket in a section where you otherwise wouldn't be able to use FLUDD. If you're a new runner, it also helps to hold right during the pause buffering so that you won't have to worry as much about falling down. Not to mention, you'll be closer to the green platform. This next part is very easy to mess up and also very punishing, so having some sort of visual cue really helps here, amongst other places. For instance, if the bullet bill doesn't hit the Koopa, you can single jump off of it and then spin to land on the triangle. You'll need to hurry a bit because the platform doesn't wait for anything. After the upcoming platform climb, you'll want to double jump spin onto the white cloud to get the Goomba out of the way. For this next triple jump to the triangle, the visual cue here is to initiate your jump when the triangle is pointing up or down. If it's pointing down, then a spin after the single or double jump should stall you long enough to land after the triple jump on the triangle. If it's pointing up, then that spin isn't necessary. Finally, you'll want to be careful here as well as you jump from the green platform to both triangles. For Rainbow Red Reds, double rocket to the platform above the start point. If you can catch the green platform cycle right at the start, great. This is the perfect spot to shift twice, shifting to rocket. You still won't see held, even during the FLUDD shifting. From here, turbo up until you pass the shine spotter. Now, you'll want to shift rocket again and rocket past this tiny hole. Once you're past the ceiling, double rocket again and collect the red coin behind the bricks by spinning them. The next red coin is a no-brainer, the one right underneath. Though, you do gotta turbo jump rather quickly after landing on the green platform. Otherwise, you'll have to wait the whole cycle, losing precious seconds. After falling down, we'll turbo right until we reach the edge, then rocket our way up to the red coin above. While turboing left, there is a star coin above, but it's slightly faster to get it after the red coin. Just like the previous big green platform, if you don't turbo off this one fast enough, you won't be able to escape and must take the time loss from riding it. After the star coin, you can either hover or triple jump to the bone platform. Both strats are essentially equal for different reasons. Now, we rocket up from the right side and then turbo to down to the 5th red, and away on the platform for the 6th one. To get the last two, turbo back to that bone top platform we were at earlier and rocket from the left side this time around. After some turboing and a ground pound on the red coin and Koopa, we can clearly see the last red coin just chilling underneath us. Following this is one of the most inconsequential shine cancels in the entire run. What I mean by that is that it is faster to shine cancel, but if you miss it, it only loses upward of 5 to 10 seconds, which is no big deal as compared to, say, literally the next shine cancel. Perform a double rocket right here while walking to gain a bunch of distance. Follow this up by immediately turboing, then rocketing again to gain enough distance to land over here. From here, you can do one of two strats. The first is to rocket up to the small platform above by holding C, and then quickly jumping afterwards, then doing the same to reach the start point for the double jump. The other strat is doing another double rocket to get the start point faster. The drawback is the Shy Guy provides a layer of risk, and if knocked back in the wrong way, can lose a lot of time. Do another jump followed by a rocket to the transition. For this next room, once again, the same double rocket into turbo takes place. It also helps to wait around half a second before doing so if possible, in order to not get so little height that you end up bonking. You want to land on the Goomba right by the start point so that you can safely hover. Another double rocket into turbo should take us all the way to cruiser. As I foreshadowed earlier, the shine cancel really does matter. If you miss it, you'll have to climb all the way back up again. If you manage to get the shine cancel and make it to the mansion, you'll want to double rocket into turbo. However, you don't want to go too far or else you'll bonk and fall into your demise. Ideally, you'll want to rocket underneath the logs and air rocket off of that. If you miss, you can always rocket right before the double jump, and that should give just barely enough height to back it up. One more double rocket and we're finally done with Rainbow Ride. Like Bob-omb, we're also going to quit game here and do 3 secret shines now for a reason we'll get to later. For each secret we do with FLUDD Preserve, we're going to have to quit game, then menu back to the file in which we were already using, which was file C. The exception is the last one, in which case we exit level to progress. This first Hoverful Secret is one that's notorious for being unfairly difficult. That's right, we're doing Edge of the Mushroom Kingdom, or EOTMK for short, very early on. With FLUDD Preserve now, we can just double rocket with some turboing in between the cloud section with the second rocket box. From here, we can do the same for the star coin. If you don't get enough height, it only loses around 2 seconds. If you miss the star coin, you can do an air rocket, then turbo, then hover a tiny bit towards the star coin, then immediately shift while holding C at the same time. This backup only loses around 3 seconds. In room 2, we want to perform another double rocket. That being said, we do need to be more careful with how we time the second rocket. It should be when Mario is about to start falling for maximum height. From there, just turbo past the flames and then perform one last double rocket. This time, we don't charge the second rocket, but rather turbo to the shine. Hovering at the end also helps avoid going into room 3, which by the way, is a thing. Moreover, if you go there, you'll have to start the level all over again. This is a 30-second top-up, a much bigger deal. For Jolly Roger Bay, we'll want to enter the castle after the file select menu. From here, just hold up and C during the door transition, and you should enter the door frame perfectly optimally every time. From here, turbo for a bit and then rocket. If you gain too much height, spin before colliding with the wall to avoid a bomb, and this only loses 2 seconds. If you don't gain enough height, another rocket in the hole shouldn't lose more than 4 seconds. Once you're inside Jolly Roger Bay, or JRB for short, we'll want to hit the switch much like the one in Tutorial 2, to open the wall blocking the path to room 2. From here, you'll want to go left and collect this red coin, then followed by the next 2 to your right. If you fall on the red coin above the water, that's a bonus time save. If you don't, you can always get the underwater one first, then do the same for the next 2. After this, you'll want to rocket then turbo to the rightmost red coin. Finally, swim to the last 2 red coins and rocket above the wall and turbo to the shine. Lastly, we have Secret of the Mushroom, or SOTM for short. The method of entry is similar to JRB's, except instead of entering the door, we enter the one-up painting above. With a double rocket into turbo, we can get the star coin sitting at the edge of the spinning platform. From here, there's 2 strats you can do. The fastest of them is to turbo to the platform underneath the shine, then rocket up there from below. The other one is a double rocket into turbo towards the bricks. This would obviously be followed with a ground pound into the shine. The top route loses 1 to 2 seconds over the bottom. The castle movement from Rainbow Ride to Tick-Tock Clock is simply diving to the right followed by an eventual backflip or double jump when you're right underneath the painting. This is because a single jump doesn't grant enough height to enter. From here, we instantly quit game for the same reason we did Rainbow Ride. The only difference is instead of going down to see a weep after entering the rocket or turbo room, we instead get both floods, then turbo left towards Magma Maze. In this maze, you'll want to make your way up right, then right before the seesaw platform, you'll want a double rocket with about a second or 2 of turbo before initiating the second one. This should take you right to the star coin. Now you'll want to go back to where you started and continue going left, and in the next room, we can just turbo through the jet stream and collect the Magma Maze shine. While entering TTC, you'll want to click the rocket box, then hold up, left, and C. Once you land on this rotating block, there's a few strats you can go for here. The easiest one is to jump with turbo, then double jump spin onto the platform, where the shine is. You'll have to rocket right after the double jump in order to make it. From here, go to the left and set up a triple jump shine cancel. This would be one of the few places where ground pounding is better, since there's nowhere to land if you dive. After this shine cancel, you can set up a double jump turbo, but you'll have to turn left and rocket to collect the star coin. The pendulums move in a very complex way, so the important takeaway from here is to make it to the sling star while avoiding all of them. If you happen to fall all the way down, a double rocket should back the mistake up nearly every time. The second strat is similar to the first, except you just YOLO the triple jump for the shine cancel, on the right side followed by a dive. The expert strat would be to get the star coin before the shine, walk off the rotating block while charging another rocket, then setting up a double jump off the platforms which should be close to underneath you. Now, you'll have to land on the very right edge to shine cancel off. Now, you still have to dodge the pendulums, but without the star coin to worry about, you can take a more direct path. This last strat is more for advanced runners who already have a ton of experience with the game, whereas the other two should be more beginner friendly, especially the first. The second room is much more straightforward. Collect the leftmost red coin and go in and out the loading zone you just entered. This should spawn the red coin shine. After shine cancelling that, let's rocket jump to the rightmost full width platform. From here, a double rocket into air rocket should give enough height to land on the star coin, but not too much to go to the next room. That being said, we'll want to go there right after the star coin. In the final room of TTC, it's best to go all the way left without turboing, and rocket to consistently not bonk. Once you get the star coin, you can rocket left or right depending on whether the big flipping platform is in your way or not. The key is landing on the green platform and then double rocketing to get the final shine. The next 5 secret courses will not have the hover nozzle, though the rocket and turbo nozzle are still present. You can do the following in any order so long as Bowser 2 is not last. In fact, I'll take this a step further and make it the first secret of discussion. There's 2 paths you can take for this secret and the next. One of them is to go in from the lobby entrance, go in one of the brown doors on the side, go down to the key door, and finally turbo right towards the Bowser 2 star door entrance. The other route involves going in from the moat and then entering for the next 2 star doors as intended. Whichever route you choose should be the same for Bowser 2 and Frosty FLUDD. This is a side-by-side comparison of both routes. As you can see, the moat door is much faster for Bowser 2, but loses a bit of that time for Frosty FLUDD. That being said, moat door is still slightly faster, though you can get away with either route. Once you enter Bowser 2, ride the platform until it crosses the other side. At that point, double rocket until you pass through this red coin. Collect it, then rocket by the transition while picking up the other 2 reds on the way. In room 2, double jump and spin the brakes in order to proceed, but make sure not to miss this red coin. Once outside of that section, double rocket or a turbo to the big sinking platform. Don't forget that there is a red coin that's initially covered by said platform, so wait right here until you collect it. Afterwards, double rocket or double jump into rocket for the star coin. In room 3, turbo into this red coin, then turbo inside to the part with a rocket box. At this point, you want to precisely rocket such that you get the red coin, but do not touch the lava. If you do touch the lava, you'll sometimes be able to back it up by holding up and right, depending on where the bully is. Even if it is right there, spinning it can work, though it is not the most consistent thing on the planet. Even if you do die here, luckily, the game saves your red coins and has a nearby checkpoint. Go to the left and rocket on top for the final red coin. This shine cancel is by far the most costly if missed. You would have to redo all of Bowser 2 again, albeit without the red coins. This would lose a minute, so be careful not to miss. A recommended setup involves coming from the right side and then ground pounding from there. The fight itself is similar to that of Bowser 1, though one major difference involves intentionally diving off around a half second after the final throw. A full second might work if you're so close to the edge during said throw. Mash click on the bottom right, just like in Tutorial 1, in order to get through the cutscene. Once done, move the mouse to where the save button would be while holding the pause button. This should allow you to quit the game and check whether or not you got the key. This is why, had we done Bowser 2 last, we would have to wait until the end of Tall Mountain or leave the Lava Land just to check for the key. Up next is Frosty FLUDD. Take the same route as you did Bowser 2, except this time after the star door, go left and inside the well-camouflaged door. There are various rocket and turbo strats, but the main takeaway is to end up on these clouds. Once here, rocket to the star coin, and then collect the shine to then quit the game to the very next secret, Galaxy of Stars. The castle movement is as if you're going to Rainbow Ride. Like Frosty FLUDD, it also deviates at the star door. Instead of going left, go right and then rocket up to the loading zone. Start the level by turboing, jumping as soon as you can, then spinning. After the spin, rocket up so you don't die. Even if you do die, the game also saves your silver stars, so it would only be a minor time loss. Next, get the silver underneath the platform, then maneuver yourself to the underwater silver. Then, finish with the last two inside the grassy rotating platform. This shine is a little tricky to EOS, but it's not as bad as, say, Snowman's Land Ice Maze or Secret. After that is Bob-omb's Castle. Take the same path to the basement as the Bowser 2 and Frosty FLUDD 1. Once there, land by Wedge-Out World painting, but do not enter it. Instead, you'll want to rocket without holding up, and then go right, and if you're on the bottom, rocket to the pipe to enter Bob-omb's Castle. From here, turbo until you see the two big stair-like platforms. Rocket up under the thwomps, then turbo to the small brown flipping platform. Double rocket off this, and release the second rocket as soon as you're about to fall for the maximum chance of success. The last secret for now is the Tidal Isles. For once, we have a vastly different castle movement than the rest. Enter Peach's castle from the main hall entrance. Then, go in this door, and into the Tidal Isles painting we go. Double rocket into turbo, collect the silver next to the hover box on the way, and then fall into the water. Get the silver to the right, then the star coin, and then the silver on the left. Once out of the water, go left and back into this body of water to collect the silver star here. And then finally, the one just outside for the last secret before exiting level to Tall Mountain, or TTM for short. Go through this star door, then go left to enter TTM. This wind buffer strat might seem difficult, but if you know the visual cue of pause buffering when Mario is well below the star coin and not yet going up, you should be fine. You'll want to pause at least 10 times while holding up the entire time. You can pause more if you're not getting enough height a lot of the time. However, what's more important is you don't go too far left to the point of spawning out of bounds. Go left until you reach this point, then go underneath the platforms you came from in order to reach the next loading zone. From here, do a series of double rockets to gain a bunch of height, all the way to this star coin. From here, do one last rocket and the TTM mushroom shrine is ours. After re-entering TTM, let's double rocket, pick turbo, then rocket up once more. From here, you'll want to carefully rocket in such a way that you get this star coin along the way, and then land on the moving blocks, or better yet, the platform above. From here, rocket up and set up a triple jump shine cancel on the TTM mushroom shine, and then go right for TTM silvers. Wait around another half a second, and then rocket twice to get silver number 1. From here, get the wing cap, and then collect the rest of the silvers and the star coin. From here, do a flight shine cancel by flying into the shine, and just like the triple jump shine cancels, pause as soon as you're about to collect it, unpause, and hold Z while the game is unpausing. Nailing the shine cancel is huge because as soon as you enter TTM secret, you'll notice the cutscene plays automatically. This is because you already have 5 silvers and the game only keeps track of the number, not which ones you collected. So as far as the game sees it, you have enough silvers to trigger the cutscene to play. From here, dash buffer for a few seconds in order to gain enough speed to make it to the invincibility star. Backtrack to the sling star and then ride this blue platform until you can jump off and land on the black rotating platform into the shine. Lastly, for TTM reds, collect this star coin on the way and then go for the 2 reds. After the transition, double rocket to the 3rd red coin and turbo to the 4th. Go down and right towards the above 5th red coin and final star coin. Ideally, you'll want to collect them in one fell swoop. Fall down to the 6th red and then turbo to the 7th. And finally, rocket to the 8th to end TTM. After TTM, go left towards the LLL painting. As soon as you enter, dive left for a very quick room 1. There's 2 strats you can go for in room 2. One of the strats is triple jump diving to the giant sinking staircase. The other is double jump into dive spin, which I personally would recommend for better consistency on the navigation of the next part. Generally, you'd want to chain double jumps and spin after landing on a Goomba, or to knock a bully away that would otherwise push you to the right. After that's done, just dive a bunch into room 3. Be careful to jump here in order not to fall in the lava. This upcoming star coin is wildly inconsistent, though there are a handful of setups you can go to make it somewhat more manageable. One of them is doing a dash right off the bat followed by a jump spin, then a double jump spin, then a triple jump dive. Once you're positioned around this spot, do another jump dive into the star coin. If you miss the star coin, simply navigate back to it and then continue on from there. After picking up the rocket and turbo, rocket jump into the volcano hole. Remember when I explained rocket storage earlier? I used this room as an example. This is something we like to call foreshadowing. There's going to be more of that as we go. In fact, it already took place with the dash buffer in TTM Secret. The reasoning behind rocket storing in LLL Volcano should become readily apparent. Even though your water does drain all the way to 0 here, if you release the stored rocket while holding C the entire time, the rocket nozzle is equipped. You'll still be able to use the rocket, even without any water. In order to get to that point, hold left as you're doing rocket stories to land on this platform, then turbo jump over all the Goombas. If you can, damage boost off this Goomba in order to skip having to wait for the fire spitter cycles, as they do not line up very nicely. Do a few pauses right after bouncing on the lava right over here to land on the tipping log, and then release the rocket you had stored earlier. After this point, dive over to the Sling Star to reach Volcano 2. Triple jump from where you landed right underneath the star coin in order to get the lava boosted and barely grab that star coin. Double jump on this gray platform and then turn left to backflip on this blue coin. From here, spin or double jump on this fly guy and chain double jumps to the Sling Star. After shine canceling the volcano shine, hold P and down and then unpause again in order to do a dive grind to the turbo box. Alternatively, you could just do a regular shine cancel into the dive to the rocket box. Either way, you'll have to actually grab the nozzle instead of just landing on the box like we've been doing up until now. Rocket dive on top of the lava wheel and pick up the silvers as they come to you. Don't forget to get the star coin before leaving. Make your way to where the toad is and perform a shine cancel on the LLL silver shine and then go on to LLL bully. As soon as you land on the orange platform, double rocket and dive to the king bully. This may seem like a tricky fight, but if you just spin him thrice from around the left edge, that should be a quick kill. Shine cancel this shine as well, then head on over to LLL Secret while making sure to pick up the star coin on the way. Once in LLL Secret, hold shift in order to equip FLUDD in LLL Secret. The reason this works is because there's 2 lines of code that should be used. One of them takes away the ability to change what FLUDD you have equipped, and the other sets your current nozzle to no nozzle. However, Runo forgot to put in the one preventing you from switching FLUDDs. The reason this doesn't work in other FLUDDless rooms such as Rainbow Ride Secret, TTM Secret, and SL Secret is because he actually remembered to put both lines there, essentially patching the glitch out. As soon as you enter, perform a diagonal double rocket and zoom out. Spin 3 or 4 times while holding up until you land there. Instantly, after double jumping, rocket up here. If you're fast enough, you could rocket dive, but then again, that is risky. If you want a safer strat, don't dive. Collecting this star coin without dying is somewhat difficult, but if you start the rocket around a quarter second before collecting the star coin, you should be fine. Definitely don't dive here. as that's way worse after the star coin than before. After collecting the shine, there's one last shine in LLL Reds, Turbo, and then jump at the end of the stair platform, then land right on top where the second red coin is. Double jump rocket to make it to where the third red coin is, then collect the fourth one in the middle of the small spinning green platforms. You can collect the sixth red coin, star coin, and metal cap in whatever order you want, so long as you get all three. After that, make your way down to where the last two reds in the lava, and with that, we are done with Lethal Lava Land. This is an auto-scroller. Mash the skip button on the lower right corner of the screen, and then mash Z to initiate the boss fight. Fun fact, Yoshi and Baby Bowser are actually in this cutscene. This is their only appearance in the game, so let me know if you found this yourself. There really isn't a whole lot to explain here, aside from just mash left and right as much as possible while traversing from platform to platform as the auto-scroller progresses. If you can, ground pound the bricks near the edges. The best way to go about this is by ground pounding the middle of said brick and a tile to the side. Just before the boss spawns, land on the right. This is to set up a jump spin to the left for the first two hits, and then double jump spin for the last one. If you miss any of these, just lure him into one of the lava pits you created earlier. Boring as this shine may be, it's very possible to just straight up die to the lava. Many good runs have been lost to this, so be sure not to slack off here. At this point, you have officially made it halfway through the run. Good job on achieving that. Go left into this door, grab this star coin on the way to start SL. Just like LLL, dive left a bunch for the entirety of room 1 with a few jumps here and there. Dash and then jump spin, followed by a double jump. The options of how to get Hover Nozzle from here branch out into either diving and rolling out, which is riskier but faster, or triple jumping and landing, which is safer but slower. When the ice platform is going up, hover dive into the star coin and backflip as soon as you hit the wall. Double jump on said platform, followed by 2 more dives to start the Chief Chili boss fight, preferably on the left side. The strat to quick kill is very similar to that in LLL. The only difference is the use of hover. If you can, set up a double jump before the shine animation starts. This way, you can immediately triple jump for the shine cancel. Make sure to pick up turbo afterwards. I know there's a shine and star coin, but despite that, it's still faster to go all the way left to the loading zone and back. This is because not only do you get the rocket nozzle earlier, but a star coin as well. I've already tested the idea of getting the rocket nozzle for the first time during SL Secret, and it turns out that's 8 seconds slower. After getting the rocket nozzle, double rocket into turbo to get this star coin, and head back to where he came from. Double rocket into turbo twice more for this star coin, and finally rocket all the way up to the Snowman shine. The order for these next 3 shines doesn't matter, since we don't really shine cancel any of them anyways. You could shine cancel SL Reds, but it would barely save time anyways. For Ice Maze, go left and then land right next to the maze. For Secret, rocket to the wing cap, then double jump fly all the way to the next room. Try to pick up the star coin on the way, but if you fail, there is a very quick backup which only loses 2 seconds. Jump spin for the star coin, then double jump fly to the room where we got the rocket nozzle previously. Just turbo from here without jumping at all, and around a half second after, landing on the rocket nozzle again. Start flying up to where the breakable ice cube is. After ground pounding this cube and entering the igloo, ground pound to the water. The reason we even got wing cap in the first place is because while the game does take away your floods, your powering up caps are still intact. This means that if you carry the wing cap over to Secret, you'll still have it. we can use that to make it to this platform and then start flying to the Vanish Cap to skip having to take the intended route from here. Just like LLL, we are indeed ending off with the red coins. Collect the wing cap, yet again, fly over to the first red coin, and then the strat of what to do here depends on if you've missed the star coin previously or not. If you did, then double jump turbo while also carefully hovering at just the right times from where the wing cap is with as much momentum as possible. If not, do the same thing, except instead of hovering, you'll want to spin. Once in room 2, rocket to reds 4 and 5, and then double jump turbo to collect reds 6 and 7. After SL Reds, perform a double exit level. This is the only time where we do such a thing, though there are absolutely more uses in other categories. Most notably, no major skips or NMS for short, but that's a topic for another video. Just like with Frosty Flood, go in one of these doors, then dive up to unlock this one. Chain a few more dives together, and we have entered what is arguably the most luck-dependent course in the game, Green Shine. The reason for this is that ideally, you'll want Kamek to spawn a lot of enemies quickly over the course of the fight. Unfortunately, the amount of enemies Kamek spawns every time is completely out of our control. It's very possible to lose up to 30 seconds over a good Green Shine from bad luck alone. There's 5 phases for Green Shine. All you're really doing for the first 4 is just killing the enemies as fast as you can, hoping Kamek spawns them quickly enough. The first phase is relatively short. It ends when Kamek stops teleporting and starts flying. The next 3 phases are of a similar length. Phase 2 ends when the first pipe spawns, Phase 3 ends when the second pipe spawns, and Phase 4 ends when the Boom Boss spawns. Thankfully, this boss fight is free. All you need to do is ground pound on his crown 3 times and jump to this spot to grab the shine and exit level. To enter SSL, go to the rightmost door in Castle Grounds. Here we go again. Yet another example of foreshadowing, just like I said would happen. Like I had said in the original clip, you can either double jump spin or triple jump to reach this platform. Personally, I'd recommend the triple jump when starting out, as it is a bit easier and barely loses any time, which is always generally a better start. Though, it isn't unreasonable to switch strats after, say, a week of running, as neither strat is particularly difficult. Jump on the turbo box, then collect the Vanish Cap followed by these 4 red coins you saw Mario pass by just now. After that, get the rocket and if possible, turbo here to get the star coin quickly. If you missed the air rocket, which, let's face it, even I do regularly, or even worse, the star coin as a whole, you could always back it up after the SSL top shine cancel, or, in some cases, before. Speaking of which, right before that, you'll want to get a hover for 2 reasons that I'll get to soon. You'll need to be a bit careful when setting up this shine cancel. Not only do the enemies need to create a clear path, but you also need to ground pound after the shine cancel in order to not overshoot to the right. After that, turbo to the 5th red coin and double jump to the Vanish Cap yet again. 2 reasons you need to grab it again. 1. Once you shine cancel, your cap goes bye-bye! Additionally, the 7th red coin is literally in a cage, meaning you absolutely need it. After the last red coin, make your way back to where the turbo was and set up another shine cancel for the red shine. Next, turbo all the way to the entrance to SSL inside. There is a star coin right here on the way, so make sure not to miss it. This is the first use of hover right here. After entering SSL inside, make your way towards this platform and double rocket inside the final triangle and pass the shine to get the star coin first and then the inside shine. After SSL, double jump dive right into this hole. Go down right into this hole to finally enter the painting we had skipped previously when entering Thwomp's castle. Hard to believe, since 2019, this course had almost 30 seconds cut from the routes alone. Because there are ways to make the most up-to-date route consistent, that is the one I will be covering. Note that much like the other two mini courses in SSL and TTC, aside from the 2 star coins, this route is identical to the no major skips route until the silver shine cancel. Go left to grab turbo, go back, and if you are able to, double jump spin exactly like this. If that's too hard, fear not, as there is a backup that only loses 5 seconds and is also really easy. Hit the orange switch to activate the bricks, and traverse towards the blue switch, and then turbo to the left. From here, do a bunch of turbo jumps to climb up to where the hover nozzle is. Set up a double jump hover into the star coin in order to hopefully shine cancel it. If you straight up can't make that shine cancel, that's okay. You can EOS it and do silver's one a little differently. If you got the shine cancel, turbo all the way to the right and enter the transition as high as possible. Be careful not to enter too high, especially without spinning, or else you'll bonk. From here, turbo for about a second, and hover to pick up the star coin and for silver on the way. On the other hand, if you either missed or flat out didn't attempt the shine cancel, upon re-entering Wetchat World, turbo jump hover for a bit, then double turbo jump into the first silver star. The route syncs back up from here. So, fall down to the vanish cap and then break these bricks for the second silver. Also, hit this blue switch on the way to silver's room 2. You can see why we needed both the vanish cap and water level being low now, right? With what we have, simply ground pound for the third silver, turbo to the fourth, and hover jump to the switch. Finally, we can turbo jump into the fifth silver, and then do the same cutscene skip we did earlier in BOB Reds. After shine canceling the shine, if you already got the star coin in this room, enter the cannon straight away. Otherwise, hit the orange switch, and then make your way up to the highest brick where the first silver we collected originally was. From here, double jump and start hovering around a quarter second later to gain maximum height to just barely reach the star coin. After that, rinse and repeat to enter Wetchat World Reds. Just like TTC, there is actually a similar glitch we can perform as we did a long time ago in TTC. The only difference is that instead of one of the red coins, the coin that has a mixed ID with the shine is the first yellow coin on our way, which is immensely helpful. After collecting it, go towards the star coin and simply drown to spawn right next to the now activated shine. In fact, Necrovita has actually gotten this by complete accident in a casual playthrough. Conveniently enough, Wetchat World and Boost Mansion are by far the closest 2 stages to each other in the entire game. So, the castle movement is a total of 5 seconds. Dive 3 times to get inside the mansion, follow this up by diving twice more to get to the far right door. Next, you'll want to fall in this hole and initiate the King Boo fight. All you have to do is land on both switches, turbo into King Boo, rinse and repeat 3 times. After that, we can see why King Boo was routed to be first. We now have access to the red coin mission, which allows us to completely skip having to collect the Boo keys. A 30-second time save. Next up, re-enter the mansion and then climb to where the cable room is with turbo. From here, climb all the way to the top while picking up this red coin and the star coin along the way. Once you've made it all the way up to the balcony, you actually don't want to get the shine right away. Instead, you'll want to go left and collect the rocket nozzle and also the star coin while we're at it. Once out, jump and rocket to the star coin and then set up a shine cancel right by the balcony shine. If you are successful, go back and re-enter the mansion from the bottom yet again. Go in the right door, double rocket in order to collect red coin 2, and then go into the top door. Go right yet again and 1 room later, turbo to red coin 3 and set up a double rocket. It's preferable that you make it a diagonal one. A quarter second later is when you'll want to start recharging the second rocket. Now, I know what you're thinking. How is Mario able to stand in midair? It's actually quite similar to why the LLL secret FLUDD glitch works. The platforms come from the bone platforms in this screenshot. There's supposed to be 2 lines of code that if you have no switches activated, one of them makes them all invisible, and the other makes them intangible. Yet again, Runo forgot to remove the second one, thus allowing us to land on them provided we know where they are. Once in the final BM switches room, shine cancel it, then go back and then ground pound all the way down here, where we would then go right to collect yet another red coin. After that, go left in 3 rooms in a row. You do need to be extra careful in the third one, because it's surprisingly easy to bonk and fall off into the basement. If you make that mistake once, it loses 5 seconds at most, since there are 2 red coins you can collect just now. However, if it happens again, you will lose 30 seconds at the very least. Think of this as some kid who misbehaves in a way that negatively impacts everyone, gets called out and then punished by a staff member, and then warned about just how much worse it's going to get if he or she does it again. That's essentially what we're dealing with here. The only difference being there are no real-world consequences for making any mistake in this run, obviously. After making it in the room with the green switch, you'll want to double rocket there, turbo to the red coin, and if you didn't make the mistake at all, go down to that basement room to collect both reds. After you have 7 red coins and are back in the bottom of the mansion for the last time, go to the caged room, grab the vanish cap, and double rocket a lot like this to avoid the ceiling and wall hitboxes that come from these blocks. After getting the star coin, fall to the final red coin, and then go in and out of the door to skip the cutscene. After the last shine cancel of BM, go back into caged room, pick up the vanish cap, again, rocket up here, and it's finally time for BM secrets. For the 2 most reasonable strats here, the first involves a double rocket here, then a double rocket into turbo, and lastly, another double rocket, all for the star coin and shine sprite. The other strat is a double rocket into turbo, into another rocket to just barely make it here. After a rocket jump and a double rocket, both strats are synced up again. This castle movement is also very short. Just dive left and then dive right to enter HMC. Right off the bat, dive right 6 times to not only collect the star coin and vanish cap, but also to ground pound or just fall to the rocket nozzle. A wrong warp entails pausing in specific rooms in order to spawn to a completely unintended room. This can be used to save time all over the place in HMC, as literally every single transition except this one, heading to silvers, has a wrong warp of some sort. If you fail, it's probably best to just rocket dive and go about this part normally rather than risking multiple more fails. Unless you already have a sub hour. Ground pound here in order to get the turbo, then shine cancel the shot. There is a kind of precise strat saving 6 seconds you can try to pull off here. If Mario is slanted and just spins the brick, he can break it without the metal cap, despite it being underwater. If he can't do it, just get the metal cap and break it before the shine cancel. Collect the 5 silvers in this order and exit level upon collecting the shine. Now that we have turbo, we can use it alongside rockets for the majority of the movement across HMC. Though, at this point, we've kind of already been doing that. After collecting this red, rocket up, then get the second red and turn around for the next room that has a star coin. After collecting it, go right and fall down towards the part of the next room with the star coin. After collecting it on the way, transition and shine cancel HMC cage shine. Now, fall into the pit while holding left. You can hover a bit or hold up and C with turbo equipped if you lack confidence in not getting past the following star coin or red coin. For the red coin, fall while holding right, but otherwise, it's the same as before. Just in case you get the following trick, collect the nozzle to refill water here, and then take the sling star. There's another variant of long warping exclusive to this room, and a few others, where if you do the wrong warp twice in succession, you can go from where you are currently to all the way down here. Just like last time, if you fail, it's absolutely not worth going for again. for essentially the same reasons as before, but this time way worse. If the double wrong warp fails, turbo left and then navigate your way until you're right over here. From this point, turbo and then rocket up to where reds 4 and 5 are. Go down and left into the final reds room. Double rocket right here for the best chance at success. Grab this star coin, fall down and rocket around this cave and into the last 2 reds. This coming shine cancel is very tricky to set up, so it really helps wonders to kill the enemies blocking your path. After the shine cancel, go left and down to the final shine in HMC. The correct paths are bottom, then top. When you see this opening, take it as there is a star coin here. After falling down and going right a bit more, we have not only finished Hazy Maze Cave, but every single course, main and mini there is. All that remains are a few untouched secrets and Bowser 3. Quick game after Hazy Maze Cave, and yes, at the end of the run, we are not only entering the level designer room, but after the star coin and shine cancels, Bowser won again, this time for the red coin shine. The reason we didn't do this the first time is 1. FLUDD Preserve, and 2. The dev exit into the Bowser 1 fight. Both of these combined make it actually faster to do Bowser 1 in 2 completely different castle movement segments, which no other course in the game has. Whether it be main, mini, or even secret courses, there's only one castle movement that leads you there, and then you do everything all at once. Bowser 1 is different. Start by collecting the red coin on the left of where you'd spawn, then immediately turbo to the right to pick up this red coin. As soon as you start falling, do some hovering in order to fall and not die. Even if you do, it only loses around 10 to 15 seconds. After the third red, double rocket, and then double rocket again right around here. Make sure not to miss the fourth red on the way, which is a lot easier to do by accident than you think. After collecting this star coin, turbo to the fifth red, fall down to the sixth and seventh, and lastly, double rocket to the final red and the shine. Lastly, exit level and double jump into these sling stars to reach Secret of the Sky, or SOTS for short. Grab the rocket nozzle and then rocket to the first 2 red coins. Do the same with the next 2, except you'll want to go a bit further left for the 4th one. Maybe without the dive though. In any case, fall to the 5th red and then rocket jump to the 6th. From here, fall all the way down to the 7th and 8th red coins. With all that out of the way, after all this time, it is finally that time of day. We have arrived at the final boss. If you've speedrun this game or watched others do the same, chances are you're familiar with the any percent category. Aside from Bowser 3 Reds, the rest of this run is extremely similar to that, which means less learning and a bit more accessibility. The castle movement to Bowser 3 is literally identical to any percent. It is very important to note that even with great water conservation, you can only barely do the fastest movement without running out of water, so every little bit counts here. Even the first outside room is very similar, only difference being the slight deviation to get the first red coin. After that, go up, right, and make sure to rocket here without falling down. Collect the star coin, and then go straight right and down the linear path for the following red coin. Here, a double rocket is enough by pixels to make it, but that's so inconsistent, even I would fail that regularly today. Instead, you'll want to initiate the second rocket a quarter second after Mario moves an inch. This helps gain a small amount of extra height, which is more than enough to consistently make it up here. The route would get awkward if you did, but you can back it up by doing the rest of the room backwards. The next room is right below us, so enter it, and then turbo jump twice to land here, with the metal cap and then rocket up here. It would help to store a rocket while waiting, since there is nothing else to do. Afterwards, release the stored rocket right under red coin 3 and grab the vanish cap on the way back down and left. As soon as you exit, it becomes obvious why. Collect the star coin and enter the top left room next. Why no bottom left? Because by then, you'll want to intentionally die by either lava or thwomps to spawn at the start and also restore up to half water. Pause at least 3 times when at the max height of your first rocket. In the top left room, double rocket into turbo and left with a spin to make it to red coin 5. Turbo back to the beginning of the room while picking up red coin 6 on the way. Now, it's time to make your way with whatever strat works best for you up until the 7th red coin, and then do what I had explained earlier. Now that you've gone in and out of all 4 corner doors, it's time to double rocket to this red coin, shine cancel, and double rocket again. From here, the rest of the run is just any percent plus space 3-star coin, but I'll choose to explain it anyways, since 1, it would be kinda weird for me to just stop here, and 2, there's a chance you've never seen anything related to speedrunning this game, especially if you're watching this video. Turbo around here, and then do a double rocket to make it to the middle door for the huge rooms. Grab the invincibility star, and then rocket into some pretty satisfying turbo movement. And for the second or third, time this run. Grab the actual nozzle and not just land on the box. In perfect harmony, we have managed to grab the nozzles of all 3 FLUDDs at some point during this run. Personally, I've had a lot of satisfying moments when editing this video, but this one takes the cake. After getting hover and refilling water, rocket jump up here and then turbo in order to then rocket jump yet again up here. Since we still have the invincibility cap, we can skip most of it once it lets us through. For Huge Room 2, the turbo movement might be even more satisfying than that of Huge Room 1 because it's more difficult and longer, plus you can just randomly slow down. After all of that, rocket up here and then do a rocket jump to the Sling Star. Rocket jump yet again to land here. Stay here for at least a full second, if not more, in order to give yourself actual leeway for the upcoming zip. Basically, if you stand here, once the platform hits the ceiling, you're zipped away as far right as the game allows. Luckily, there is a slant here, giving just barely enough room for Mario to teleport right here and skip the second version of this. Either double rocket or double jump with the rocket each time to enter Fake Bowser. What's most important is that you don't fall. Since there is no death barrier, you'll just keep falling indefinitely. This is by far the biggest potential time loss in the run, clocking in at around 2 minutes. Thankfully, it's really easy to avoid, provided you know what you're doing. This is another auto-scroller, but what matters is that you stay underneath Bowser every single time he is about to spit fireballs. The one exception is right after the first hit, since after digging into the code, the community has determined that there is a 9 in 10 chance of saving time with it, and a 3 in 5 chance of saving at least 1 full second. Point is, it's absolutely worth it, regardless of skill level. If you're used to any percent, all I can tell you is do not do cutscene skip. This is because unless you want to click save anyways, you absolutely will miss the 3rd Bowser key, thus invalidating the whole run. Since, remember, the 100% requirements are not just all 64 shines and star coins, but the 3 Bowser keys too. Essentially, it's everything shown on the files, like most other games. Space 1 is the last level that has a hover FLUDD only requirement. Pull off consecutive double jumps, and right here, wait for a bullet bill or 2 to come near you, so you can land on them if or when you need them. After landing on these tipping logs, do the same thing to make it to the Sling Star. With rocket and turbo, the rest becomes a piece of cake. Double rocket and get 1 more rocket to the Sling Star. In Space 3, make sure to rocket towards collecting the star coin, and not just skip it, unlike any percent and no major skips. In True Bowser, we got throws as similar to SM64's final Bowser fight as we can get for a 2D version. However, unlike that game, this is not the last level. Now that the Orb of Power has been reversed, we must now flee the scene before Bowser's castle is destroyed, hence the actual final level of basically all runs, Escape. For Room 1, either double rocket or a turbo with a jump later on. For Room 2, buffer a turbo jump and spin around this point. Make sure not to bonk on the wall over here. In the final room of the run, set up a double rocket, turbo for roughly 1.5 seconds. And finally, initiate the last rocket to end the 100% speedrun.
You did it! If you made it this far, I hope you've learned plenty from watching this video and can use a lot of the techniques talked about here. Give yourself a huge round of applause, as it's also important to celebrate every achievement. Peace!
Thank you so much for playing my game.